And we have a boiler call for today. So what we've got is, we got a lock bar, the copper fan boiler. It's just nothing that fancy, but we got a 3 flash code says we have a flame failure. So I've got everything opened up at this point. I'm looking at all my gas valves. I see my burners. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and reset the alarm, and I want to see it go through a sequence of operation, see where it is failing at. Obviously it's not proving flame, but are we even actually making flame? So that's my first step. Not overly familiar with this boiler. I know enough to get in trouble, so that's what we're going to find out. How deep in trouble can I get? Looks like we have a hot service igniter set up, by judging off of that. And then this would be our pilot based off of that. No, that's not a pilot. That would be your safety for your induced draft. Okay, so that's our induced draft safety. So part of the problem here, looking at how this setup works, this is a forced draft. I may not be able to run this boiler with this cover off. Sitting here looking at it, which I find interesting because, you know, I should be able to see the burner assembly, but yeah, it's in a 1 flash low air. Okay. All right, see, I'm learning something here. So given how this is set up, this is a forced draft, blows through into this cavity and then forces air through and then back out the flue. So I need to put this panel back on, which is not that big a deal, and then I'll try to let it refire and see if I can get it to come online from there. I won't be able to physically monitor the burners as they run. I don't have any peep sights or anything else to even be able to see in there. So we'll figure this out. We're okay. Alright, now we're going to try to do another reset. See what it does. By the way, so far, really enjoying this bag. I don't know if y'all saw my video from the other day where I kind of went through some of my tools, my everyday carry setup, but this bag has been pretty great so far. So we got the door back on, waiting on the induct and the blower to kick back in. Do we still have a code? I reset you. My assumption is that we're waiting. Is it got like a time sequence maybe? That it's timing out in between trips and it'll automatically come back up even though I hit reset. I could power cycle, I assume, the controls here. By the way, I'm not a boiler expert. I'm not anything of that nature. Those who are actual boiler people watching this, feel free to add some guidance to all of those watching this video. In the meantime, I will do my best to work through this, and you know, like I said, I do know enough. I'm not a complete idiot when it comes to boilers, but I am by far an expert. I'm just gonna cycle. So we're doing a pre-purge is the light I got. Let's see, what is our pump motor has been running. I checked that when I first got here. It's been online from the get-go. This is our tank pressure, temperature, so we're at like 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, hot water out. Then the main building pumps are running, so we have kind of a dual pump assembly here. This is online. Trash man's here dumping trash. Okay, trial for ignition passed. Stage 1 is active. That's good. So we're getting somewhere. Yep. Our intake. We definitely have some exhaust coming out warm. Let's see, outlet, inlet. So yeah, just making sure I'm looking at this right. And we are at 76 based off of that thermometer. We got 74, so we do have a slight rise already. We haven't been running very long yet. Right now, you know, it's about as much as I know as to what led up to this. Boiler tripped on alarm, wouldn't run. We get the call, I show up this morning, it's tripped on flame failure, and here we are. So possible, thinking through what possibly could do that. So flame failure, you're looking at, you know, flame sensor, maybe one of the burners. Could possibly be something with stage 2, is what I'm wondering. So right now, it seems to be perfectly happy with stage 1. All right, so we're good there. I'm waiting to see, okay, after so much time, which high fire offset, there it goes, it just fired high fire. Okay, I was just looking at that. So high fire fires at a 10-degree offset. Our set point is like 142, and we got about a 5-degree offset. So if we're at 135 or 137, and anything below that on the leaving water, we're gonna fire high fire after so many seconds. And then we're gonna warm the water up to like 147, and then we're gonna kill low fire. So right now we're running both stages, high and low fire. It's doing fine. It's doing fine. For now, we will just continue to monitor. I don't have all the screws in on that blower. Gee whiz, buddy. I don't have all the screws in on the burner panel. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and put the rest of those back in so we have a real nice tight air seal and that's not impacting the system. Because I don't wanna create a problem because I didn't put everything back. It does have a gasket on there to seal that panel. System's been running several minutes now. I got the screws completely back in that panel. We're still in high fire, even though we're in like the 150 range on the leaving water. So I find it interesting we haven't cycled down on the call yet, but I'm not gonna hone in too hard on that. End of the day, I'm thinking through, this is real nice schematic here. I appreciate you, Lakvar, for this schematic, but thinking through what could have caused a flame failure condition. You know, just you know, at that point we know, because if we look through and kind of process of elimination here, so if we weren't getting airflow initially, we would have gotten a low air condition. If we had flame call or flame without call for heat, obviously, you know, our burner's running even though the boiler's not, you know, engaged, then you know, we know what that is. Flame failure condition. Okay, so because we have an igniter failure, then that means that we at minimum were already in flame. So we weren't trying to ignite, we were in flame at that point, is the way I read that. So with the burner already running, looking at this schematic, what are some things that could have caused the flame to fail during operation? Now, the first thing that comes to mind is maybe our inducer motor, because if this, like say, suddenly stopped, for example, that would technically kill the flame, but and it does have a capacitor on it, and I'm tempted to pull the capacitor off and check it, but you know, just that is a possibility. I'm really just I'm trying to think through just what would have caused that. And honestly, what I'm also struggling with, and what I don't want to do, is just outright say, oh well, it's running fine, everything's going fine, you know, you're good to go, it was just a nuisance trip. Well, if there's something actually causing this problem, I'd rather just go ahead and find the problem and take care of it. I'm not big on just walk up, reset, walk away. I'm also going to be mindful of the fact that it is possible that they could have had some just random condition that caused, I mean, honestly, genuinely, it could have been a power blip, right? Now, it says that there is a low voltage condition alarm on that panel, but that's going to tell me that, you know, the actual power coming into the boiler, and that's if I'm understanding these codes correctly in the first place. But the power coming into the boiler had an extended time frame of low voltage. If we had a random surge or something come through here that we get all the time, or a random brownout that was just kind of intermittent, that a lot of times those alarms won't catch that kind of stuff. So you'll have some other failure just because of the power grid having a blimp. So that's what I'm thinking through, and I'm trying to weigh those options. I don't have an easy way to access the backside, so checking the capacitor is not going to be easy. So we didn't trip anything, but we just suddenly just went from high fire straight to cycle down. It was pretty dramatic. I don't like that. Well, I'll be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, ever since it did that last cycle, we've maintained loop temp. Everything's on point, you know, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Now, I spent a little while talking with the engineer, and we went over quite a bit of stuff through here. And he was actually telling me that they had to recently completely replace this whole burner assembly in the firebox because they have not been doing routine maintenances on this boiler. So last winter they had to, it was early, I think last December, had to replace all of it because the fins in there had gotten so plugged up that they weren't able to get them to clear. So that was prior to our company coming in and taking this over, and we now have a maintenance agreement with them, and that's, you know, we'll try to prevent that from happening going forward. But that doesn't really pertain to our issue here. Just kind of an interesting factoid. Regardless, I'm really thinking just some weird blip happened. We've been running really consistent. We haven't had any issues. I mean, we've been super stable. Granted, I haven't gone crazy and taken flue readings or gas pressures and none of that, but I cannot find any justifiable reason as to why this boiler is not going to be okay. And it's, I mean, it's pretty cool out. Well, I mean, it's cool for us here in this area right now. It's in the 40s, I think. But yeah, we're maintaining, and our loop's been pretty consistent, so we definitely have a heat load throughout the building, but not enough to maintain low fire. So end of the day, now that we caught the loop up to pressure and it's satisfied, we've been cycling low fire ever since then, and high fire's never even had to come on. So yeah, I'm thinking we just I'm gonna ask them to monitor it and see if it gives them any more trouble. I don't want to kill a ton of time, you know, trying to troubleshoot something that's just, I'm just chasing ghosts. MTT guys, take care of your family, take care of your spouse, put the time in with them. They really need you. Your kids are going to be sponges, but you know, you have to put the effort into showing them things for them to want to care about what it is you're dealing with. You know, all kids are going to go through a stage where they're not going to be interested in anything you're interested in, because, well, that's just part of us finding our independence and learning who we are. But, you know, you've got to put that effort in up front, right? If you never try, they're never going to even have a chance to get those skills or develop anything in the first place. Anyway, YouTube's going to recommend this video to you. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't, let me know. Either way, I'll see y'all later.